I can always see if I can get on. Now it doesn't look like, oh yeah, Dawn's entering. Dawn is entering. Do I need to record this, or does it look like it's recording? Because I can't tell. Hi, Dawn. I don't see the recording button.
I'm just going the wrong.
Oh, it is recorded. Okay, I see it.
Recording.
Okay. Oh, geez. Oh, man. All right, let me get everybody in. Kenzie's coming. Yep, I don't know what's happening. Minutes. Whew. There we go. All right, I'm taking my mask off. You okay with that? I just can't breathe with it on. All right. Just waiting for the last couple, if anyone else is coming, connecting. Hi, everybody. Whew. Feels good to take that mask off. All right, let's see. See if she can get in here. So clearly I'm not at home. There's no way I could make it home to do this at home. Hi, Cindy. All right, so we're gonna do this. Mackenzie's still trying to get in. I don't know what's going on. All right, let's see if she can get in and then we'll start going, okay? All right. She get in, she's still trying to join. Why is it not working? All right, so I kind of was intending for this to be like talk back and forth. So if you guys have questions as I'm going through it or talking about stuff, feel free to unmute yourself and have this more of like a dialogue. Poor Mackenzie, she cannot get in. Hold on. We'll just wait a couple more seconds. She's trying. Mackenzie, you can do it. Get in here. All right, so as we're waiting, so today we're talking about food prep and we're talking about, yay, Mackenzie, I think you got in here. All right, did it work? Yeah, it worked. You got in, thanks, good, nice, Mackenzie, to see you. Okay, so, oh, we got someone else. I'm just gonna wait, we're just gonna wait. Just a few more minutes, sorry guys. Feel free if you want, you can unmute and just chat with me if you want for a second. All right, giving everybody a chance to get in. All right, we'll go ahead. Okay, so it originally was supposed to be at my house and I was gonna show you some different things, but with both camps back to back and then there's no way I would have made it home. My house is like 25 minutes from here. So we're gonna do meal prep and food prep from Bird, okay? So so there's a couple different strategies that I kind of like to do. I'm gonna tell you right up front, I'm not always the best at meal prepping. It definitely takes a mindful effort. And so if you struggle with it, know that it's normal, it's not, and it's okay. So as long as I give I give tons of different options of things that we do that we can do all throughout the week. So if something lands with you, or if you have other suggestions, please, I would love to hear it. So please feel free to share. Okay, I want to first share one of my favorite meal prepping books, and that is the Cook Once, Eat All Week. Okay, this is an amazing book. Okay, so if you need, I can also post this in our private page. Okay, she has a website. It's called Fed and Fit. And if you want to try, say it again. Did someone say something? Hey, Fatima, if you could go on mute for a second.
Oh, sorry. I'm so
Oh, you're
sorry.
fine. No worries at all. Okay, feel free though, guys. This is interactive, so feel free to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question or if anything like that. Okay, so Cook Once, Eat All Week is a really awesome book. It's 6 months of meal prepping, basically. You're not going to do it all 6 months at a time. It's 1 week at a time. Okay, I'll explain how that works. If you want to try it before you buy her book, her website is Fed and Fit. And if you join her email list, she generally has like a 1 week like meal prep example from the book. Okay. So how this works, and it depends on like the size of your family and how many meals. And she lays it all out. I have a family of 4. And so it basically, you make a protein, you buy it. She gives you all the ingredients. You buy the protein, you buy a vegetable, and then you buy a carb. Okay. And then she tells you step by step, okay, you're going to brown the meat, and then you're going to do this, and then you're going to do that. And she literally talks you through it. So say you buy your groceries on a Saturday, and then on Sunday, you do your prep. I highly, highly recommend you do not buy the groceries and try to prep on the same day. Okay. You're going to be exhausted. I've tried it. It is not fun. Okay. So do it like on a Friday or Saturday, go buy your groceries, and then you're prepping on maybe a Sunday or whatever day that works for you. Could be even a Monday, a Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever works for you. Okay. So it's really awesome. And she has the components already pre-cooked for the most part. You might make a sauce. You might make, chop up the vegetables, get everything really quick and ready so that when you come home from work, or if you go into work, or when you get done with work, or whatever it is you're doing, you can easily have a meal prepared in 10 minutes-ish, okay? Around 10 minutes. So it's 3 different meals, by the way. So it's never gonna be tasting like leftovers. So it's usually like a casserole, then it's like a stir fry, and then a soup or something like that. And the recipes I'm gonna tell you are so, so good. So I will show you a couple of the ones that we recently made. There's a chicken bacon ranch casserole. I mean, doesn't that just sound amazing? It was so good. That crumbly stuff on top is pork rinds. You can take it out if you don't want it. And actually, my husband does not like the healthy ranch dressing. He doesn't like healthy ranch. So we made half of it with barbecue sauce, and he loved it. It was good. And my kids loved it too. Then we made this is all in the same week. Then it's a lemon ginger chicken stir fry. That one was really good. And then last was the chicken, I don't know how to pronounce it, whatever that word is. I don't know, who cares? But it was good. So that is an example of 1 week. You literally prepare it on like a Sunday, and then it's so easy to combine it all together. And then also, if you want all 5 like meals throughout the week, it gives you 2 bonus meals that are really simple to make, and it has the ingredients. So this one was like seared pork chops, baked okra, which we did not eat. I do not like okra. And then the other one was like a coffee steak with roasted broccoli and roasted beets. Okay. So obviously those things, if you don't like them, you can change them up. There's so many awesome recipes. So that is one strategy. Now, we do not do this every single week because sometimes the meal prepping at like the Sunday is a lot more work. So sometimes I'll want the recipe, but I don't actually do the work. So I'll buy all the stuff. I'll maybe start grounding some of the stuff, and maybe my husband will help me. We'll like tag team it. It's kind of fun to do it with my husband, and it makes it go quicker. And so we'll start doing that. And then like, we just get tired through it, or we're just like, all right, we did enough. We'll do. And that's fine too. And then we still have all the stuff there. And then when it's time to cook the dinner, we might have to do more work. Okay. So that's another strategy you could do as well. So if you don't feel like doing all of what she says, you can do parts of it, and then just know you'll have more work to do. Okay. So go to her website, Fed and Fit, if you want a free week of a menu just to see what it's like if you like her style. If you have a larger family, she does give you suggestions on how to make it fit your family. Or if you have a smaller family, she also gives you examples on how to do that. So it's a really, really awesome book. And again, it has 6 months of recipes, so you never repeat. These are mainly like, they're not breakfast recipes or anything like that, but she does have some on her website. So that is like my tip number 1. Okay. Any questions before we move on? Any questions on that, Don?
What was the name of the book again?
Yes, it's called Cook Once, Eat All Week by Cassie Joy Garcia. Yep. And you know what? Cool fact, she is a nutritional, so I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner. She went to the same school. She is a consultant though, so nutritional therapy consult, whatever they're called. So just a little bit different certification than I have, but pretty cool. All right. So let's move on to some of the other strategies that we at my house that we do. So I talk to you about like shopping one day and then prepping the next. So I do recommend that. Hold on, let me get. So I do recommend try not to do it all in one day, unless it's just like, you know, you just want to chop up and clean some of the vegetables or your berries or something like that. That is totally fine. But doing like what she has, sometimes it's overwhelming. Okay, so some other ways that I like to do some meal prepping is like setting up like, so what are your favorite meals, favorite cuisines, okay? And so what I mean by that is like, so maybe like every Monday is an Italian night, you know, maybe, you know, and so you just like start creating a list. So I have like a list here. And so we have Italian night and you'll list out different Italian dishes that you like. And then knowing just because it's Italian doesn't mean you have to use like all the heavy carbs. You don't have to use pasta. You can use spaghetti squash. You can use zucchini noodles. So you can still enjoy those favorites and maybe splurge every once in a while. You have like the noodles or, you know, whatever. If you've had a focus meeting with me, you know that we talk a lot about how you feel after your meal. And that's how you know if you've had too many carbs. So carbs are not a bad thing, but too many can spike your blood sugar and then you're on this blood sugar roller coaster ride. And we want to not be on that roller coaster ride. Okay. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, come schedule a focus meeting with me. We'll talk about how to balance and know how to build your plate. But carbs are not the enemy, but just knowing what your limit is key. Okay. So I would suggest, you know, if you like this type of method is you're going to write down, okay, we like Italian. And then you're gonna kind of list out all the Italian dishes that you like. So, and so you have something to like think of, okay, oh, let's have Italian on Mondays. And then you have all these different things that you could make. Then maybe Mexican night is on Tuesdays, Taco Tuesday, you know, whatever. And then you're gonna have all these different recipes of things that you like that are healthy, that your go-tos that you know your family likes. And then again, taco night can be another one as well. And again, with taco night, that can be taco bowls, that can be tacos with like siete wraps, that can be with like an organic corn tortillas. Corn is a GMO product. That's why I recommend it to be corn. That's why I recommend it to be organic, because we want to avoid genetically modified organisms. You could also do pizza night. So you can get like cauliflower crust, you know, if you're trying, no worries, Dana. If you're trying to be mindful of like the carbs, because again, sometimes when we eat those heavier carbs, we're really gonna spike that blood sugar. So cauliflower, Whole Foods has a really good crust that's cauliflower based. But you could also do, I've seen like some pizza casseroles. I've seen, there's like what's called like a yolk roll with pizza that uses the yolks of, it's like an egg casserole, but pizza-ish. It's pretty good. So there's all kinds of different things. So you're basically listing out all the recipes, all these different ideas, or maybe some that you want to try. And then maybe you have themed every, you know, so you don't have to think about it. You're like, okay, every Monday we're doing this, you know, and then you have all these options. Does that make sense? Yes, kind of. Okay, cool. Another thing is seafood night. I do recommend trying to incorporate seafood at least once a week. Trying to get sustainably raised if that's something that's a concern to you. But you know, trying to get some seafood in every single week would be great. And then maybe even having like throwing in a breakfast night in there too would be good. Okay, so then once you kind of figure out, hey Dana, will you put yourself on?
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Don't worry. All right. This is totally interactive. This is no big deal. Okay. So feel free at any time, guys, unmute yourself, ask your questions. Okay. So dessert, we're going to talk about dessert. It's important, especially if you have a sweet tooth, to balance your blood sugar. Okay. Noticing your cravings and things like that. If you're struggling with those, come talk to me. I'll help you. But yeah, we all kind of want, sometimes we either have like the, where it's like a ritual. We always have dessert after dinner. So finding some healthier options is always key. So I always have berries of some sort in my house, whether it be frozen or fresh, depending on the season and how expensive they are. But you can always do like, so my kids call that nature's candy. And so any fruit and things like that, those are perfect like for a sweet treat. You know, when you want that non-indulgent, you don't want to feel super guilty or you feel like really heavy. So having some fruit, sprinkle it with some honey on it if you want to, you know, need a little bit more sweet. But some other options are like dark chocolate. I wish I was in my house so I could show you some of the options that we have. There's a really, really good, like at Trader Joe's, it's 100% dark chocolate. There's no sugar in it. And what we do is we take like a nut butter or like we do sun butter in my house, and that fat with the chocolate is like, it hits the spot. But the darker the chocolate, like obviously the less sugar is going to be in it. So maybe ideally like 75, 80% or higher. But if you want like a sugarier treat, like it's totally fine. Again, noticing how you feel afterwards, and checking in with that, that's important. Another thing I wish I was planning on making with you guys is chocolate avocado pudding. Has anyone made avocado pudding before? Mackenzie's like, what? No. It sounds probably pretty disgusting, right? It sounds gross. It is so good. Okay. It does not taste like avocados. My kids love it. It's a good go-to treat. I will sometimes give it to them like for breakfast if I have no idea what to fix them. So I always usually have a batch in my, like a big batch in my refrigerator. So what you do is you take avocados, usually like obviously like the more ripe, the better. So they're not super hard. So I usually like, that's what I do is whenever the avocados have had their last leg, I'll put them in the food processor with cocoa powder. I usually use banana to sweeten it. So I use a couple bananas. So the more spotted the bananas, the more sweet they're going to be. So I put bananas in there. I'll put vanilla, a little bit of coconut milk, but any kind of milk that you want. And really that's it. I usually a pinch of sea salt. That's it. Blend it together. If you have a sweeter tooth and you need it to be a little sweeter, put in some maple syrup or some honey. It's phenomenal. Or some of you guys use stevia. You can put stevia in there too. Try it. Do like a small little batch if you're afraid. But I know you're going to love it. Now, to make it even more of like well-rounded, so I will put collagen powder in it. And so now it's got my protein for my kid, because especially for my kids. So it's got protein, it's got fat, and it's got carbs. So now you've hit all the spots, okay? And it's a healthy snack, especially if you're hungry or you want that sweet treat after XYZ. Or I give it to my kids, like I said, for breakfast. I don't put a lot of sweetener in it for theirs. But you can always add it in later after the fact. Like it wasn't sweet enough, you can add in honey or maple syrup, or just add it into the batch. So you can Google, there's so many recipes out there, but that's like the framework. That's what I use. The recipe that I follow is called, it's from Diane Sanfilippo. Don't ask me how to spell that. Diane Sanfilippo, and it's called like Mousse chocolate mousse. Okay, Mousse chocolate mousse. Diane Sanfilippo, Balance Bites. She has that's usually like my template. So no, I'm a rebel at heart. So I don't really like to follow directions. So I'm always like, I could do that better. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. So feel free, recipes, change them as you will. It doesn't, just because it's written that way, doesn't mean you have to do it that way. Okay. Another thing that dessert wise that we do in our house is chia pudding. Have you guys ever tried chia pudding? No? All right. I'm throwing all kinds of new ones at you. Okay. So chia pudding is really good. If you like, so sometimes it bothers people. So the little chia seeds are like little black, there's sometimes white ones. And what happens, they plump up when you expose them to like a liquid. So you would make the chia pudding and then you put it in the fridge and it plumps up a little bit. Not so much like tapioca, because tapioca is a little bit bigger, but kind of the same concept. The problem sometimes that I get annoyed with, it gets stuck sometimes in your molars, and that's annoying. It's kind of like eating, like blackberries, the little beet seeds get in your teeth. So that's the only thing downside to me of chia pudding is like the little seeds get stuck on your teeth. You could like blend it all together when you're making it so that it breaks up those seeds and it still will like become a pudding. Like, I don't remember the recipe off the top of my head. Again, I don't usually add sugar in, just because we've trained our taste buds to that fruit is sweet enough for us, but that was a process. But if you are still needing more, if you still need more sugar, that taste of sugar, feel free to add like honey, again, maple syrup, something like that. But basically the concept is you take your chia seeds, and I can post the recipe later in the Facebook group. Chia seeds, I use coconut milk, vanilla. You can make it like chocolate if you want. You can put chocolate in it. And then what I typically do is when I put it in the fridge, I will put frozen raspberries in it. And the frozen raspberries, as it thaws out, that will be sweet. That will sweeten it. And then at the end, if you need a little bit more, drizzle honey on top. It's good. And you can always add more berries or whatever too. So that's sometimes like my quick go-to breakfast in the morning. If I'm just short on time and I don't have time to fix breakfast, that's a good option. Or the avocado pudding is another good breakfast, especially if you can even add the Burn protein powder in there. That would taste really good in there. I have done that before. Just know that it does change the flavor a little bit. And whenever you add like a protein powder, because that has its own taste to it. So, but that would be another option.
Nicole,
Any questions? Yeah.
Can you use any other kind of milk, or does it have to be coconut milk for that?
Nope, you can use any milk you want.
Okay.
Yep, you can use any milk you want. We have nut allergies in my house, so I don't use almond milk.
Okay.
So I might go too. And then we use we'd use full fat dairy is the other option too in our house. So those are the two options. I just like the taste of coconut milk. You're welcome.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Nope. Okay. So those are some dessert ideas or just snacks in general. Also another like apple with something fatty on it, like nut butter, things like that. That's also like a good like dessert. Or taking like a banana. This is another fun one. So taking a banana and then either chopping it up or like almost making it like a banana split. And then you can drizzle honey and like put some little chocolate chips on it. And that was to me, that's satisfying when I need something a little bit more sweet. You can also do that with like frozen bananas. Have you ever made the banana ice cream? You take frozen bananas, have them chopped up, put them in the freezer. And then when you're wanting that ice cream or that sweetness, you just put them in a I feel like it works best in a food processor, and it breaks down the bananas and it makes them like a soft serve ice cream. I like to add, personally, I love putting peanut butter in it, but I can't do peanut butter. So we do sun butter. You can put chocolate in there and it tastes so, so, so good. So that's, if you have a little bit more time on your hands, you could do that. Oh, and I also like doing like a full fat yogurt and then putting like a little handful of chocolate chips in there. And that's also another like sweet treat as well. So those are some options as far as desserts, because you know what? Life is too short. You still got to have dessert. We got to enjoy life, right? And I think even in like the Rise packet, did you guys all get your Rise packet in the your email? It has recipes. Did you guys get it? No, you guys didn't get these? All right. Put a message. I'll like make sure we get these out to you. So this was, you were supposed to get this a couple weeks ago, like last week or something. It's got recipes in it. It's awesome. This is from Burn headquarters. It's got snack recipes. Some of them are a little bit more heavier in the carbs. So you just want to make sure that you're listening to your body. But there's dinner recipes, there's smoothie recipes, and then there are little dessert recipes too. So I'm pretty sure if you've been here at Burn before, you've had these Afterburn protein oat balls, the protein balls. Have you had them as a sample day before here? Yeah. No? Oh, goodness. I know we can't really do samples right now, so that's a bummer. But normally Burn, usually at least whenever the Burn that I was at, we always made protein balls. I love protein balls, but that's so fun. But it also has puppy chow in here, and it has like an Afterburn cookie dough and some black bean fudge brownies too. So again, that will, if you did not get this email sent to you, we'll make sure we get that to you, but it has some recipes in it. All right. So now I'm going to talk about another method to the madness. Okay. So and again, we use all of these different strategies. It just depends on how we're doing. If we were thinking ahead of time, things like that. Cause sometimes it gets away from you and you forget, oh crap, we have to eat. So having all of these already planned out, listed out, like I said, with like the recipes that you like, your go-to, have those ready. So that way you can just think, okay, I got that on hand. Let's make that. Okay. But then also every weekend we try to batch cook something. Okay. So here are some of the things that we batch cook. So have you ever baked your bacon? No? Yeah. Okay, good. That seems pretty popular now. That's like the easiest way to like batch cook a ton of bacon. So batch cook your bacon and then you can store it. If it doesn't get eaten right away, it always gets eaten in my house. I try to like make a couple trays because I'm like, don't touch the bacon. I need this for later, you know, whatever. So batch cook your bacon. Also, while you're baking your bacon, put a tray of vegetables in there, roast your vegetables. If you're not used to eating many vegetables, roasting them brings out the sweetness of them and it makes them taste better, okay? So play with the different fats. It's gonna sound weird, but duck fat with vegetables and roasting them is so good. If you've ever been to a French restaurant, a fancy French restaurant, I don't know any around here because I just moved here, but that's phenomenal. That's the best place. Like go to a nice restaurant and order their vegetables. If it's a good cook, they know how to cook vegetables. All right. And then you can start learning how to like what vegetables you like and hopefully you can remake them. Okay. So roast a couple trays of vegetables and then you can put them in like in a glass dish or in the refrigerator. And then you can easily throw components of a meal together. So it's really important that we are including vegetables in as many meals as we can. It adds the vitamins, it adds the minerals to our body, but also it adds bulk. It fills us up. It makes us feel better, believe it or not. And it actually adds bulk to our stools. Okay. So if you tend to, for both reasons. So if you tend to, sorry, I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner, so I talk about poop. So if you are squeamish about poop, sorry ahead of time. But eating your vegetables helps you if you have diarrhea because it adds that bulk. But it also helps in the other way if constipation is also the problem too. So it helps to have more vegetables. Hopefully no one is eating right now. I should have prefaced that. Okay. All right. So be prepared, have them ahead of time, have them batch cooked. Other thing to make ahead of time, you can make a frittata, okay, or an egg casserole. And that way you just cut squares of it. It's already made. And then there you go. Voila, you have a breakfast. And even better, you can put some of those roasted vegetables in that omelet or egg frittata. And there you go. You've had breakfast and you hit some of your vegetables. Okay. So I know, genius, right? So other things you can do is hard boil a bunch of eggs. So you can do this in the Instapot. If you guys, any of you guys have Instapots? I love my Instapot. I have 2 of them. They're my faves. If you don't have an Instapot, you should ask for one. Get one. They're amazing. It took me like 2 years though. I had it in the box. It took me 2 years because I was so intimidated by it. It is not intimidating. It's the easiest thing ever. You're not going to blow up your house. I always thought I was going to blow something up, but you'll be fine. Instapots are great. So come schedule a focus meeting if you want to talk about your Instapot. I'll give you some recipes. But hard boil your eggs. You can do it in the Instapot real quick, but otherwise do it on the stovetop. Do it. I think you can do it in the crock pot. You can do it in the oven. You can do it anywhere. So hard boil some eggs. That way you have some go-to easy protein ideas. Another thing we do is we'll ground, like sometimes I'll take 3 to 5 pounds of either, I'll start with chicken. So we'll like take frozen chicken, put it in the Instapot, put a little broth in there, let it go for, I think 20, 30 minutes. And then my husband likes to take the little, the hand blender and then blend it all up, after it's cooked. And it's like shredded chicken. And it's the easiest thing ever. And so we store that in the refrigerator. My husband, while I was at work last week, he made chicken soup with it. So that's super easy. You just take the shredded chicken and throw it in things. You can so the other night he pan fried that chicken and made it crispy. So now it's different. It's shredded crispy chicken. My kids love crispy chicken, by the way. You literally can throw it into anything. You can throw it into frittata. You can throw it into eggs. So now you have emergency protein that you can now throw into anything and you can make a meal real quick. And it took no time at all. You just throw frozen chicken in an Instapot and press start and then blend it and put it in it's so easy. But you can do the same thing with any of the meats. You could do ground beef. You could just saute a bunch of ground beef and keep the seasoning to a minimal. And you don't even have to cook it all the way through. And then so maybe throughout the week, you're like, oh, what are we going to eat? Oh, we can have tacos. All right. Then you're going to reheat it, add your taco seasoning, and there you go. Now you've got the base for your tacos. You could I'm trying to think, you could add different seasonings to that and make it taste different, completely different too. So it doesn't have to be tacos. You could throw it into like a pasta sauce and with some spaghetti squash, and there you go. Now you've got some Italian night. So lots of different things you can do. You can even make meatballs ahead of time. Those, I did that before, and we threw them into all kinds of different things. And that was a hit. Or you can do the same thing with ground turkey too. Another thing we do for the carbs. So we will take sweet potatoes, and you just clean the outside and put a little bit of oil, okay? Coconut oil, just a little bit on the outside, but then you don't do anything. Don't adulterate the sweet potato, okay? No stabbing the sweet potato. Just leave it as is. You're gonna put it in the crock pot. You can set it to low, and then you can leave it overnight, or if you start it first thing in the morning, and then you have sweet potatoes ready for you either in the morning or by the time you get home from work or when work is done. And you have sweet potatoes, and then let them cool. You can peel the skin off if you want. By the way, putting the oil on the outside helps you be able to peel the skin off of the sweet potato. Have you ever it's stuck to there? You know what I'm talking about? Or you can even do this with baked potatoes too. But having that oil on the outside helps peel it easier. And then you can let it cool, stick it in the refrigerator, and now you've got an easy go-to carb whenever you're just throwing meals together, okay? So sweet potatoes are great, or regular potatoes or anything like that. And then also we eat white rice every once in a while too. And so, you can batch cook some white rice, have it, put it in the fridge, and then it's ready to go. Or you can buy the frozen kind and just cook it too. Any questions on some of those easy little things that you could do on a Saturday or Sunday, or sometime even throughout the week? And you've got some, what I call like emergency protein or emergency meals ready to go. So you always have something on hand, because that is key to meal prepping and just success in general, is that you never get caught with your pants down, right? You never get caught hungry and you have nothing to eat, because what's going to happen? You're going to go to the fast food restaurant. You're going to order something that you wish you didn't. Okay. You're going to order that pizza. Okay, that was my husband last night. He was starving. We were already full, but he didn't apparently eat enough. And he was like, I'm going to go put a pizza in. I'm like, okay, whatever. He didn't. He found a steak. He put a steak on and he ate steak because, he had goals and but that's okay. If you ate the pizza, that's fine too. There's no shame. If you've been with me in a focus meeting, my philosophy around food is you choose your food. You choose, okay? It's always a choice, whether you're having the glass of wine, you're having a piece of chocolate, or you're having a burger or a steak or anything in between, okay? It's always a choice. It's no one's ever telling you have to eat this, okay? It's your choice. You're going to enjoy it thoroughly. If you do not enjoy this food, whatever it is, if you don't enjoy Brussels sprouts, well, choose a different vegetable, okay? You don't have to eat things you don't enjoy, but enjoy what you're eating thoroughly, and then let it go. It's no longer there anymore, okay? You didn't ruin anything by having the brownie. Doesn't mean you should go eat a whole plate of brownies. It just means you enjoyed it, now you move on, okay? So it helps remove the guilt around the food. Do you like that rule? I think it's a pretty good rule. All right, so remember that. You choose it, enjoy it thoroughly, and then let it go. All right, so there's also a leftover method. Okay, so this method is, if these are for the people who do not like cooking every single night, this is where you make double the amount of food that you made for, say Sunday night, you had time, you made this elaborate meal, you're purposely making double. So that way a later meal throughout the week, you have something else to eat, or maybe it's lunch the next day or something like that. So that's another method. And you just have to be very mindful to make double. I know sometimes with me at my house, especially during the pandemic too, but my husband, he likes to eat. We all do, but he really likes to eat. And so I will make double. And then if I don't put it away, he's just helps himself. And the next thing I know, we don't have leftovers. And I'm like, that was for tomorrow. Okay, so if you have someone like that in your house, it's what I've found to work for us is I will portion it out and I'll have a little bit left in the bowl or whatever, that I'm serving it out of. And then the rest I put away. Okay. So that way it's out of sight, out of mind. There's still a little bit left in case someone wants another little bit. But the rest is put away. So it's not tempting to just like keep snacking on it, which, you know, again, it's okay if you're still hungry. But chances are you're probably not hungry, you're just bored. And so just kind of being mindful of that. So that was my how that helped us have some leftovers in our house. And leftovers are really important. We have a lot of leftovers in our house, and we use that because we don't always like to cook. Or you can do the cook once, eat all week. That's also really helpful, that you minimize the amount of time you're cooking. Okay, so we have one more strategy. All right, one more strategy. How are we doing, guys? Everyone hanging on? Okay, good. All right. So the other strategy is kind of similar to like the one I said before, like having like Italian night and then listing out all the things that you like. So this one's similar, but it's based off of now like the proteins. Because again, if you've been in a focus meeting with me, you know that your goal is protein first. We always start our meal, we build from the protein, okay? So we focus on where's my protein coming from, and then we add the other things. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the proteins. And then you can figure out what else will work for you and your family and your body. So eggs, we'll start with eggs. So these are, I'm just gonna list out some ideas of different things you could do with eggs. And this could be for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, okay? So just because a food is normally breakfast does not mean it has to be breakfast. And same with a food that's normally dinner, like burgers, doesn't necessarily have to be for dinner. I usually have sometimes burgers for breakfast. Okay, so sometimes it helps getting out of that mindset, like that's a breakfast food, that's a dinner food, just it's food, okay? And you gotta eat, you gotta survive, we gotta move. Do not starve yourself. Okay, so eggs, we could do casseroles. There's a pizza casserole that we've done that's really yummy. You could do frittatas. You could do a big omelet with a lot of vegetables and different things like that. Find an omelet that you like, make a big one. You could do scrambled eggs and butter. You could do hard-boiled eggs. One of my favorite to do with hard-boiled eggs, it's like a faux deviled egg because nobody has time to make deviled eggs. Is you take, there's olive oil mayo. Have you guys seen like some of like the olive oil mayos? Primal Kitchen has one of them. That's a really good brand. Sir Kensington is another olive oil. Mayonnaise. So mayonnaise isn't necessarily bad. It's the mayonnaise that you choose, the oils. Again, if you've had a focus meeting with me, you know what oils I recommend eating and consuming, and the ones that are highly toxic to your body. And most of the traditional mayonnaise and Miracle Whips are highly toxic to your body. Okay, so start working on changing that out. And it's super easy to make mayonnaise, by the way, too. So easy. I have a video I can show if you guys want to learn how to make mayonnaise. It literally takes a minute. Okay, the deviled eggs. You take your hard-boiled egg, take some mayonnaise, you cut the egg in half, the hard-boiled egg, and you just put some mayonnaise on it, sprinkle some paprika. There you go. Deviled eggs, the easy way. It tastes yummy. It's got good fats in it, and it's not as, you know, sometimes when you eat dry hard-boiled eggs, your mouth's like doing one of those things because you just can't. That's a lot. So put some mayonnaise on it, some good mayonnaise, okay, not the Hellman's or whatever that is. Don't put that on it. That's bad. Okay. Or you could do poached eggs. I mean, there's literally 1,000 ways you could do eggs. Okay, so get creative, have fun with it. The key to food is not eating the same thing over and over and over and over again, because one, you're gonna get bored. Two, you could get nutrient deficiencies by always eating the same things, and or you could get intolerances to foods. So you could build up intolerance because you eat the same thing over and over again. So just be aware, add variety because you're gonna get more nutrients that way, okay? Less deficiencies and less likely having intolerances, okay? So now we're gonna move on to another protein. We're gonna go into beef. I'm gonna sit down. Okay. So we're gonna do some beef. So examples are hamburgers. Those are easy. We do a lot of bunless burgers, or we do it like with lettuce wraps. We do siete wraps too, like the grain-free things. So you could get like siete wraps and like use that as a burger bun. On a rare occasion, we'll use like buns, but not very often. Meatloaf. That's another, easy. You can even make little mini meatloaf muffins, especially if you have kids. They think that's fun sometimes. Chili is awesome. You can make that. You know how chili tastes so much better like the second or third day? Batch cook that. Make that on the weekend. Make a big batch of it. Have it throughout the week as your lunch or your dinner. I like to add, I made like I messed it up. I was trying to make cauliflower rice, but in my food processor, because the way I have it stored, I have like the big blade at the bottom that's supposed to like pulverize everything. And then, you put the blade on top that's supposed to rice it. I had both blades, not realizing it. So I literally riced it and pulverized it at the same time, my cauliflower. So it looked more like polenta. And I was like, well, I'm not going to waste it. So I pan fried it, and it turned out to be like a thick mashed potato consistency. And I used that, and I made like Texas chili. It was phenomenal. Even my husband, who hates cauliflower, was like, this is actually really good. So it adds more vegetables. It adds some bulk, which is what we want. And then I added chopped up avocado on top. And so you got the weird cauliflower, whatever that is. And then the cold creamy from the avocado. It was perfect. I was like, I'm a chef. I did that on purpose. It was like a disaster, but I did it. I was proud of myself. But there's Sloppy Joe. I have a homemade Sloppy Joe. I do not buy canned Sloppy Joe. I make it homemade. It has good quality ingredients, and it tastes really, really, really good. Okay. It's like a little bit sweeter version of like chili kind of. It's like thick. It's good. If you guys want that recipe, I'll try to find it and post it. But ground beef, you can make tacos. We've talked about that before. You could do the bowls. You could do it with siete tortillas, the sprouted corn tortillas, different things like that. Whatever you're in the mood for. You can make beef stew. You can make pot roast. You can make steaks, short ribs. And then if you get all beef hot dogs with no fillers, you could also do it with hot dogs. Okay, so hot dogs aren't necessarily a bad thing. It's just what kind you buy. We tend to buy the Applegate Farms hot dogs. And sometimes even the Trader Joe's, they have a good one. Theirs has a little bit of sugar though in it. All right, so that was beef. Any questions before we move on? We're going to chicken next. No? Okay. Chicken. So we got wings. I buy from Trader Joe's. By the way, if you haven't noticed, I love Trader Joe's. I don't know if you have a Trader Joe's in Northville or close to you. I hope to goodness gracious you guys do. You do? Okay, good. It's amazing. Not everything, by the way, in Trader Joe's is healthy. Okay. People assume like, oh yeah, I got it from Trader Joe's, it's healthy. No. You still have to learn to read your ingredients. I typically don't buy things that are in the packaging, if you will. That's generally not, that's fake stuff. It generally has a lot of ingredients we want to avoid. If you don't know what ingredients to avoid, again, schedule a focus meeting with me. I have 2 sheets that I hand out usually in my focus meetings that go over ingredients, what you should be looking for, what you should not. But they have like frozen chicken wings, and my husband likes to put those in the air fryer with some, I think Frank's maybe. I don't know. He does something. I don't really like it. I'm not a big chicken wing person because I don't like to gnaw on bones, but that's me personally. But wings, they're perfect. Drumsticks, all right? Those are great too. I know people are afraid of like the fattier cuts of meat, but if you're buying organic and pasture raised, and then by Aaron, the meat is okay. It's healthier than if you were to buy it like the conventional. Because typically the fat is where toxins are stored. So just be aware of that as well, as when you're buying like a fattier meats, either at the grocery store or even going out to eat, the fattier it is, if it's conventionally raised, it's going to be a little bit more, the omega-6, omega-3 balance. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. Basically, it's not as healthy, but it's okay. We're human. It's okay to have those things, but just know, if you can in your budget buy pastured and like the way the animal is supposed to be raised, that's going to be better for you and better for the environment. Okay. Another thing you can do is you can take the whole entire bird. All right. You buy the whole roasting bird. I like to do this is you put it in the crock pot or Instapot, filled up with water, and you've now are going to roast the bird, cook it. And then also you've now got a meat stock. I love meat stock because now you can make chicken soup. You can make all kinds of soups with that, or you can sip on it. It is so healing to the gut, sipping on broth. It is, if you've got any joint or inflammation, It's going to be helpful for that. It's going to be good for the skin, the hair, nails, any sort of like cartilage. If you got like snap, crackle, pop, like that was, like aches and pains and things like that, drinking broth is helpful for that as well. So you can cook your chicken, make your broth, and now you've got everything really to make your own chicken soup. So that's a good option for the whole bird, especially if they're on sale. Another yummy option is bacon wrapped chicken, any kind of chicken, bacon wrapped. I mean, bacon makes everything taste better, but bacon wrapped, that's really awesome. And then even, any type of oven baked chicken. My kids' favorite meal is usually I'll buy like the chicken breast, but the tenderloin ones. They like the thinner ones. And then I will put butter on it in a dish, like a baking dish. And then I'll sprinkle all kinds of seasoning on it. And guaranteed they will eat it. Like they love when I do that. So, and again, who doesn't love butter? So, and butter is not necessarily bad for you. It's okay. I know I'm probably challenging a lot of people's thoughts and beliefs, and schedule a focus meeting with me. I promise you, I can hopefully help you see that fat and the way that nature made it is healthy. That's the way it's meant to be. Anything that nature made is healthy. If it's from a farm, or I'm sorry, a factory, that's generally going to be not healthy for you. Okay. So just keep it in, if it's nature based, if that's how it came in nature, it's going to be healthy. If it's a factory, it's not healthy. Okay. General thumb. All right. Moving on to pork. All right. So we've got ground pork. You can make, you can mix the pork with like a beef, and you can make, like meatballs and things like that. Or you can just do like a ground pork. You can do pork burgers. You could even do it again, mixing it with another meat. You could do a pork roast, pork ribs, pork belly. That's yummy, especially pork belly in the crock pot. You could do pork chops. If you look up for pork chops, look up Dad's recipe is what it's called. It's got like mustard. It's really, really good pork chops. That's our go-to. Dad's recipe or something like that. Dad's pork chops. That's a good one. And then bacon wrapped hot dogs. Again, bacon again. You can also use siete wraps for your hot dog. That's a good option as well. Okay. Now we're moving on to seafood. So we've got salmon. That's great. Awesome. Omega, what is it? I'm drawing a blank. I think those are omega-3s. Clams, you can saute, like get frozen clams, and then you can saute them in butter in a pan. You can even add like some seasoning, add some heavy cream. Phenomenal. You can do the same thing with mussels. You can buy the meat already frozen, or regular scallops are wonderful. Shrimp, tuna, you can make tuna salad. If you like sardines, sardines are a great emergency protein in my house. It's not like anyone in our house is craving sardines. Please don't get me wrong. We do not crave sardines. However, it's great whenever, just to have it on hand when you're hungry and you just need something to hold you over. But I do recommend, if you've never tried sardines, Trader Joe's again has a good brand. It is boneless and skinless, so it does not look like you're eating a fish. Okay. And what I like to do personally is I like to get the little roasted seaweed, and I feel like I'm having like sushi. So I'll eat like some sardines and the bite of the roasted seaweed, like the little packs. And it's good. It's a good combo. Or I'll do that with my tuna salad sometimes too. And then you're getting good iodine for that thyroid. Okay. So that's a good one. All right. Sides. We're almost done, guys. Sides, you could pre-cook or have white rice. You could have sweet potatoes, buttered carrots, any roasted vegetables, amazing. You could do any sort of buttered vegetables, steam them, butter them. The reason why I'm having you add butter to your vegetables is because vitamins A, D, E, and K are fat soluble, meaning you cannot assimilate them unless you have fat with it. So butter with your vegetables, now you're assimilating more nutrients that way. Okay, so add fat to your vegetables. The fat we don't want to avoid is fake butters. Okay, those are harmful. Those are factory farmed. Those are factory like made. Okay, they're not real. So we want to avoid those kind of fake butters and like the margarines. Okay, so avoiding those are going to cause more inflammation to the body. They're not healthy at all. Okay, and then we already talked about dessert, having the fresh fruit, banana ice cream, the frozen bananas, banana with honey and chocolate. That's good. I like to do the full fat yogurt with chocolate chips, avocado pudding, maybe make a smoothie. Those are my go-tos. Real quick, when you go to eat something, this is a good rule of thumb. And I'll talk more about this in a couple of weeks when I do my, what am I doing? Emotional eating, emotional eating. The reason why you can't stay out of the fridge. But think of it, but when you go to eat something, think, do I want it or do I need it? Okay. And answer the question with complete honesty and self-awareness. Do I want it or do I need it? And don't eat what you don't need. Okay. If you don't really need it, don't eat it. Just like what we talked about at the beginning. Choose it consciously, enjoy it thoroughly, let it go. Okay. So always checking in every single time you go to put something in your mouth. Don't, and I'm a mom, so I understand this. Don't like eat off your kid's plate because you don't want it to go to waste. Do you know how many extra like junk calories that it wasn't good, right? You just ate slobbery mac and cheese, like, ew. Or, whatever it wasn't, you don't need that. Like, it's not worth it. Eat it and enjoy it. If you don't need it, don't eat it. Okay. And then one other thing I wanted to leave as a takeaway is just remembering that all diets, they're all temporary. There's usually, most of them, they're all based on deprivation and they all have an implied end date. Okay. So the question you should ask yourself is that type of eating sustainable? Probably not. Okay. So the way that I teach eating is, it's not dieting. It's listening to your body. It's fulfilling those needs that your body has. If you've got cravings, there's a deficiency probably. Okay. And it's figuring out what your body is needing. I call it like Morse code. So your body is always in communication with you. It's Morse code. You just don't understand it yet, but it's my job to teach you what that means so that you can decipher what your body needs. Okay. So that's important. We're not dieting. Okay. We're not depriving ourselves. This is not guilting ourselves into eating certain things. All right. But it's listening to your body and then fulfilling that, giving it what it needs. That's really the ultimate goal. Do you guys have questions? This is something I'm passionate about. I love talking about nutrition. Anytime you have questions, please come see me, come talk to me, focus meetings or whatever, send me a message, DM, whatever. Lucy.
That was great, Nicole. Loved all the information. What butter brands do you recommend? Because that I was pleasantly surprised to hear that actually.
So
what brands? I wouldn't even know like what brands of butter.
What to look for. So I look for, so a lot of like, so if say you're getting Kroger brand butter, a lot of times butter and again, because remember fat stores the toxins. So if you've ever done a detox and you feel like crap, it's because your fat is releasing toxins because it saves your body. Okay. If you eat toxins, it's being stored in your fat. Same with animals. So when you eat the fat of an animal, which is cream, which is butter, you're exposed to those toxins that the animal ate. So I always recommend when you're buying fatty food, when you're buying milk, when you're buying butter, those are fats. You want it to be high quality. So it should be organic. It should be like the hormone free. I forget RA, blah, blah, I don't, the R thing. I'm so smart. I don't even know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about though, like the hormone free thing. You want it to be, ideally, I like it to be pasture raised. If you can find a local farmer, even better. We sometimes we'll buy like the sticks of Kerrygold. Those taste better than like the tub. For some reason, we bought 2 tubs of Kerrygold. They have like a softer version and it's tasted like straight up farm. You guys know what I'm talking about when you like, have you ever tasted farm?
No. But so like standard Land O'Lakes, is that bad?
I don't even know what that one is.
It's just like a general, like,
I mean, it's not bad.
not everybody uses Land O'Lakes.
Yeah,
butter, butter. You're right. You're right, Dawn.
Yeah, I would say it's probably, I mean, it's not bad. It might have it could have hormones in it. It could have, a little bit more toxins in it. So I don't know what, and look at the ingredients too. So what I teach, and when you come to focus meetings, I give you sheets on what to look for in your ingredients. It's really important that you're not reading the label and taking it for what it is. So like on the front of the box, it could say anything. It literally can say whatever it wants to. That's the scary part. They can say and put whatever they want to on the box. It doesn't necessarily mean it's true. Okay, you have to flip it over and read the actual ingredients. And if you don't recognize them, or if there's more than 5 ingredients, probably wouldn't buy it. Okay, so that's my rule: 5 ingredients, and then usually 5 grams of sugar or less per serving is also my other kind of rule. So 5 under 5 is a good rule of thumb. But in terms of, and so also they cut butter with like olive oil, and who knows if it's actually olive oil. Sometimes they'll do it with soybean oil. They'll cut butter with all kinds of things to make it cheaper, okay, and to supposedly make it more spreadable. But then it's going to be less. In sunflower oil, they'll do that. Don't buy those, okay? It should be strict butter. Would be, especially if you're cooking with it. You don't want to be cooking with sunflower oil or safflower oil or soy oil or any of those things too. Any other question?
What were some of your suggestions for oils, Nicole? Like
So
for cooking.
So cooking for higher heat, the most stable, the ones that don't go rancid quickly are going to be coconut oil. It's going to be like your animal fats, so lard, duck fat, tallow. That's what comes to my head right off the bat. Those are like the ones that are solid at room temperature are going to be more stable at higher heat. The ones that like are at lower heat are going to be avocado, olive. Why am I drawing blanks? Those I know for sure. And then the ones that should never be heated are going to be like the polyunsaturated. Those are the PUFAs. Those are very, very unstable. So any like your soy, peanut, which we don't consume, sunflower, safflower, there's a whole list. Those are polyunsaturated. Those ones are very unstable. They are rancid very, very easily. By the time they get to you, they're rancid. And so that's why we don't recommend them. There's no such thing as really a bad oil or a good oil. It's just how they are processed. Some of them are so delicate that the way they're processed, they're bleached, there's chemicals added to them to process them that they're already damaged. And so it's damaging your body. And so that's why we avoid some of those oils. Great questions. All right.
So it was the R thing, RBST, like this butter that I have says RB.
ST free. Okay, so that's not terrible. Yeah. What does it say? Does it have other ingredients in it?
It just says pasteurized cream, salt. That's it.
Okay. Yep. That's good. That's good.
Okay.
I need my jacket real quick.
Yeah,
I would say
I've
that
seen
was a
that,
good one.
That's cool.
I mean, you can, and yeah, I mean, and you can always look for, you know, if you wanted, you could find organic, you could find pasture raised, you know, things like that. Those are, again, if you schedule a focus meeting with me, it's getting cold here. I do try to I have like a shopping list, and it has like the good, better, best in terms of like each food category and like budget. Cause not everyone's budget can afford the top of the line, everything. Okay. And so I give options. Okay. What is in your budget? Good, better, best. Okay. And then things that you must avoid, and like how to read the label. So that's what I do in focus meetings too, to help with that. And if this is helpful, we can even do like a separate one of these things and talk more about whatever it is that you guys have more questions on. Cause I know that this is not as mainstream as it will be soon. Hopefully it is starting to get more and more mainstream. The more NTPs that we have out there, and just the more that we're talking about it and showing that, you know, health, this matters, and it really does affect your health. So, and anything hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated is a trans fat. Okay. The label, the way they can get away with it. Again, this is how like sneaky companies is they have to change their serving size as long as they don't have to put there's a trans fat if it's below 0.05 grams per whatever, however they measure that, but it's 0.05. Okay. So what they do is, like, say Cool Whip. If you guys have ever looked at the bottle of Cool Whip, it's actually full of hydrogenated trans fats. But if you look at the label, it says 0 trans fats. You know how they got away with that? Is they changed the serving size to 2 tablespoons. I don't know who has ever only eaten 2 tablespoons of Cool Whip, right? It's not possible to eat 2 tablespoons of Cool Whip. Okay. So under 2 tablespoons, it has under 0.05 grams of trans fats, because it has the second ingredient on there is hydrogenated soybean oil. Okay. So anything hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated is a trans fat, and that is so bad for your health. It's causing lots of damage. It's just, all in all, should be avoided. Okay. So don't read what it says on the label. You have to read the individual ingredients and be informed yourself, because they can hide all kinds of things. Any other questions? You guys are
No,
awesome.
I was just gonna say, I just love your passion for what you do. That's so important. Nicole, you can see that you really love what you do. And I think that's great.
Thank you. Yes, I definitely do. I love educating. I love making sure people are informed. I have tried literally every diet there is to be tried. I've been a guinea pig myself. I've been a vegan for 2 years, and that was the least healthiest of my entire life. And so I've learned from experience. I've done all the things. I've jacked myself up in so many different ways, and I've learned the lesson so that you don't have to do it. So learn my lesson so you don't have to do it, please. But yeah, I do. Thank you. I am passionate about it, and it is important. So, but yes, if you have literally any additional questions, feel free to reach out to me. I am on the members page. You can send me a direct message. You can friend me. I don't mind. Or you can schedule a focus meeting and come on in. We can talk more about it. Okay. Especially if you're trying to figure out like your carb to fat ratio. If you know you had a correct carb to fat ratio, is your energy should be pretty stable all throughout the day. Okay. And that's about balancing your blood sugar. So, which is not a fun, sexy way to say it. So that's why it's carb to fat ratio is important. And if you feel really, really tired after your meal, or like low energy, or you feel like you need more food, bye, Nan. Then you need to decrease your carbs. So at that previous meal, you probably had too many carbs. And so decreasing your carbs at the next time you eat will be helpful. So that's how you know, like, you've had too many carbs. If your meal didn't last long enough, and ideally around 3 hours, then you didn't have enough fats. Okay, so that's how you can figure out the right ratio for you. There's a little bit more involved in that, but for the most part, that's like a good gauge. So you can really determine what's best for you. Because I can't really tell you, like, you should have this, because everybody is so unique and so different in the stress that they're under. If you're under more stress, you're probably going to need a little bit more carbs. If you're not as stressed or you're not as active, you may be fine with less carbs. And so it's a balancing act, and it's really is tuning into yourself and figuring out what's going to work for you. Cool. All righty, guys. Well, if you have any more questions, ask your questions. Otherwise, it was wonderful hanging out with you guys. And I apologize, we didn't get to actually hang out in my kitchen. I didn't get to show you anything. If you want any of the recipes, just let me know, message me or whatever, and I'll post them on the group.
Yeah, I'd love some of those recipes.
Okay, cool.
Nicole,
Everything you
have
mentioned.
time tomorrow
I can do that.
after the stretch? Would you have time for a focus meeting tomorrow? I know it's a Sunday.
Tomorrow. Yeah, I think I can do a focus meeting tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Sounds
You made me want to
Thank you
schedule a
so much.
focus meeting too.
Yes, you should definitely come on in.
I've already had one with Nicole. It was really good. I need to come back in.
I feel like you're gonna blow my mind.
And it's
I
just
can eat
helpful too.
fat.
I give papers. I give you because it's a lot to take in, because it's
Yeah.
new information. And so I give you papers that you can take home and you can read and you can go over it yourself. So you can really like digest it. And it's not like an all or nothing thing. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm doing all this, I'm not doing anything right, so I just, throw it all in. It's baby steps. It's not, no one's expected to get there overnight. I don't expect anyone to throw everything out of their house and start fresh. Like, it's just, when you start buying new things, now we're going to look at the ingredients. Okay. All right. We're going to, it's really important, because they're designing food that is highly, highly addictive, and it's changing our palate. we don't want real food anymore. Okay. And it's important that we go back to the real food, that we really are working on and meal prepping and having those things available. So that way we aren't relying on those fast, easy box dinners and, things like that, or going out to eat because the processed oils and things like that are just really are harmful for the body. It's okay to do it on occasion. I have nothing against that. We go out to eat as well. And we sometimes buy box dinners and stuff like that too. It's not like it's an all or nothing by all means. It's not about being perfect. It's about progress. Okay. And that's what I teach. Listening to the body, progress, not perfection, being gentle with yourself and knowing that tomorrow you can do better. So yeah, schedule your focus meetings. I'd love to talk to you all. And I've already talked to a lot of you, but feel free to come back in, especially if it doesn't make sense or it's not clicking yet. Because it's a repetition thing. It's like, all right, this is what I'm eating. What do you think? All right. And I can get some suggestions or, whatever. It's really good to connect with how you're feeling too. Because if you're not making those connections, then it's not helping. You're not figuring it. Then the Morse code is missing you. You're not listening to your body. Okay.
Hi, Nicole. I just wanted to tell you thank you for all the information. I was off video because I was driving.
Oh, you're home. Well, good. I'm glad you're home and you made it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Navita.
Yeah, I have one quick question. You said olive oil mayo. I have Kraft brand olive oil mayo. Is that fine? I would have to read the ingredients.
I would say
but
read
just
the
off the top of my
ingredients.
head is wanted to ask you that.
Yes, that's a good question. So a lot of
Okay.
the like big brands, they'll put avocado mayo on the label. Again, they're tricky. They're tricksters. Okay. But they want to save money. Okay. Because the food industry is all about money. So what they do is they split it with like soybean oil. Okay. So it can say olive oil. It can say olive oil. It can say, because olive oil is decent and a mayo. Or it can say avocado oil. And they're like, yay, that's good. And then you go look at the ingredients and number one ingredient's like soybean oil. And then the third one is olive oil or something like crazy like that. So read your labels. Does it say it on there?
I'll have to look at
It
it.
does say soybean oil because this is avocado mayo.
Oh yeah, that's what I have. Okay.
So it has
Yeah.
avocado oil, canola oil, and then it says so it's the fourth ingredient. It says water, avocado oil, canola oil, and soybean oil.
Yep. Do you see how tricky they are?
So that's
So this is bad.
Yeah, it's bad. I'm sorry.
So what was the brand you said for avocado oil or avocado mayo? Is it a
So I found two brands that have clean ingredients, and it's Primal Kitchen,
uh-huh.
And then Sir Kensington.
Yeah. I like Sir Kensington's ketchup. Really. Okay.
Yep.
So
But again, there could be other brands. Those are just the ones that I'm familiar with, but there's always new things coming out. But again, you have to read your ingredients. And then you also want to be looking for any artificial sweeteners in there. Okay. Because those are equally as bad. You want to not be consuming artificial sweeteners either. So I have a list that I gave you, Navita, but and other people too. If you come to the focus meeting, there's a list that's like a preliminary list. They're literally, this is the scary thing too. They're literally coming out with new sugars and new artificial sweeteners all the time. Okay. Because now we've caught on like high fructose corn syrup is bad for us. So now they're calling it golden syrup. Now they're calling it corn syrup. Now they're calling it like all these different names.
yeah.
And because they're trying to slide one under on us. Okay. But if we stay engaged and we understand how to read the label, it'll protect us in the long run. Okay. Because those things are not good for our health. They're going to cause inflammation. Inflammation goes out of hand. it's going to lead to disease, which is what we want to avoid. We want to keep our body healthy. Just because we age does not mean we're unhealthy. Bye, Fatima. Just because we're aging does not actually mean we're supposed to have these aches and pains. Doesn't mean we're supposed to get unhealthy. Okay. So that is important, that you don't settle and say, well, it's because I'm getting older. That's not, it's because of the food we're eating. And we literally can change that. We can reverse it by just changing the foods that we eat and just being mindful of it. So I'm here to empower you. We can do this.
Where do we get those mayos at? Trader Joe's has those? Nicole?
Which one is it?
The mayos that you just mentioned.
No,
brands.
mayo. The ones I usually go for those that I've seen is Fresh Time. Sometimes Kroger has it. Sometimes Kroger. It's usually more expensive at Kroger though. Those ones, but Fresh Time is good. I've found it there. And actually, if you have a Meyer sometimes has them too. I personally hate walking through Meijer because it takes
too.
way too long. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted by the
I
end
was
of Meijer. I'm like,
I was just there last night. I don't like going there either.
I do not like it, but they generally have a pretty big selection of things.
Okay.
So if you can't find it, a Meijer typically has it, but I'm just like, ugh. I'd rather not go to Meijer personally.
I know.
I'm just too
Nicole,
tired.
I gotta run. Thank you.
Bye, Davitsa. Bye.
Bye.
But yeah, so Fresh Time's a good one. I wish there was one stop for everything, but I have yet to find the one-stop shop. I go to like 5 grocery stores sometimes. It's annoying. But yeah, it's good. Stock up. If you have like a big chest freezer or a big, like we have a big just single freezer, it's just a freezer, and that is a lifesaver. So if like grass-fed steaks are on sale, every once in a while they are at Kroger, I buy all of them. All of them. They are so yummy. Especially they have like these little tiny ones. They're the I don't remember what they are. They're an amazing steak. That's my favorite. And my husband will cook them up for lunch, and that's my favorite lunch of all. And so when they're on sale, I'm buying them all. And so it's nice to have that stand-up freezer, because then when you find things on sale or get to know your farmers, go to the farmer's market. That is the best way to save money. Get to know your farmer. You can buy, I've bought an entire cow before, or you can share a cow with somebody else. And it is the best way to save money. And now you've always got something on hand that you can easily cook. So, or a pig or whatever. I've done that too. I've bought like a quarter of a pig and half of a cow. And just fill my
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
So do you incorporate those with maybe cholesterol issues into your
So that is
counseling
also, yeah,
session?
nope.
That's a good question. That's a good question,
Okay.
Dawn.
So
Like you just mentioned a lot of fat.
I know. So actually, dietary cholesterol does not actually lead to cholesterol in the body. I know this is breaking another like I don't even know the word, myths. There's a lot of myths around that. It's actually, even if you look at like Lipitor, if you look at their pamphlet, it actually says on there that it does not cure heart disease. So lowering cholesterol has not been proven to actually even help with heart disease. And I'll tell you the reason why. I'm also a Restart instructor. And so, and that's another thing, but we just actually recently talked about this. So cholesterol is in the body to show you that there is something wrong. So it got pinned as being the culprit for causing plaque and heart disease and things like that, because it's at the site when they do like the dissection of the heart. But the reason is, it's actually the alarm, the flag. So cholesterol comes in, and it is, so say you eating our hydrogenated fats, you have trans fats, or you're eating soybean oil or artificial oils, or those like highly rancidified oils, it's actually causing inflammation. It's pushing holes into the arterial of the wall of the heart, the blood vessels, things like that. It's causing damage from the inflammation from those oils. And so the cholesterol is it's natural to the body. It comes in and it's repairing those walls. And so what you're doing is, by keep eating those foods, you're putting more holes, more cholesterol is coming in to repair. And that is the problem, is that you're not fixing the food. You keep eating the inflammatory food thinking that it's going to go away, but the cholesterol is there protecting you. So that's why it gets the bad name, is because it's there at the site, but it's not actually the one that's causing the problem. Does that make sense? There's a whole bunch of books. I will post them. There's even like videos and things that talk more. I'm not as scientifically around on this subject as much, but there are wonderful books. We learned about it in my schooling. Basically what I'm saying is, you don't get high cholesterol from eating cholesterol foods. It's the high carbs and the high sugar that's going to increase the bad cholesterol. Okay. So that's the main difference. It's the food choices that we eat, and it's not the fats, because nature didn't make a bad food. Nature did not. Factories did. So if you're eating something from a factory, it is causing the damage, not the food that came from nature. Makes sense? I know it's contrary to popular belief, but It's the fact. But I'll post those resources so that way you guys can dig in. So I am a scientist. Before I became a personal trainer, I worked in a lab. I've been basically my entire life, I've been a scientist. I ask the questions. I'm a researcher at heart. If I went to the doctor, I'd always second guess everything and I research it myself, which is why I ended up going to school for this. Because what they were saying didn't make sense with what I was reading. And I was like, how is this not, why am I not getting better? You know, like I said, I had a whole host of health issues. At the age of 21, I had a colonoscopy. I had my stomach scoped. I was a mess. I was a mess. And so I knew I had the answer, and within me, it was within me, and it's within you as well. You just have to let it come out. You have to do your own research. Don't believe everything that you hear and see, because there's always an agenda. There's always going to be someone making money and profiting off of, I'm going a little political, I apologize. But you just always got to follow the money, sadly. So do your own research. It is highly, highly beneficial. But in all, the way my philosophy and what we learned in the Nutritional Therapy Association is that nature did not make anything broken. You are not born broken. It's the food system that we have created. And so it can all be fixed. It's just, you have to vote with your dollar and make the choices with the food you eat.
Hey, Nicole,
Yep.
can you give us like where the good sites are? Like, where do we get the good information to do our own research?
I can do that too. Yep. I have lots of resources of all that. I can give you that, and different books and different things to look for. Tasha Campbell McBride, she wrote like Eat Your Heart Out. And so that's about more cholesterol in the heart. Those are the ones I can think of. There's tons. Dr. Mark Hyman has some good books also. There's tons. I'll get you some, okay? And then you can go on, you literally can go off all kinds of different tangents too. And I know that there's research out there supporting all the different ways. But just sometimes when you read those research articles, you can see who it's backed by, who's paying for it. So I worked in a lab. I worked in a private lab doing biomedical research. We did chemical warfare. We did all kinds of, I was a DOD and DOJ classified. It took me 5 retinal scans and classifications just to get to my desk, type of thing. It was like Mission Impossible style. But, we would be hired from the government and to do a study that we had already done. We already knew the answer. We already knew the outcome, but we had to do it again for another company because it's classified and because, whatever. So they're making money, it's all about finding who's sponsoring that study, who's going to benefit, because that's how the wording is going to change based off of who's paying for that. Okay. Sadly, but it's the truth. So yeah, when you're reading research articles, look who is sponsoring it, who's paying for it, who is supporting it, because that'll dictate the outcome. And even sometimes the research is crap. The sample size is too small to actually make it conclusive. And so sometimes some of these articles should never even be published, let alone making causations about them too. So that's why this, like Ansel Keys, I don't even know how he got away with what he got away with for so long, but I feel like it's my job, my mission to kind of help open eyes and show you that there is a different way, and it is, we can reverse. We don't have to succumb to the quote unquote diseases of today. So sorry guys, I know I get a little a little deep sometimes, but yeah, if that's where you guys want to go, we can go there too. I don't mind. Any other questions? I have lots of information I'll post recipes. Just give me a little bit of time. It might take me a little bit to get all of it. I might make it in a couple posts, or I don't know, I'll figure out how that'll work, but I'll definitely get you guys all that information for you. Alrighty, cool. Well, have a wonderful weekend. I will also be back tomorrow. I'm gonna be doing yoga here and then Zoom. So it'll be a quick 30-40 minute yoga with me, so.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. It was
Okay.
You are
great,
most
Nicole.
welcome.
Thank
Yes,
you.
we'll see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See.